occupation of Palestine, we have been witnessing daily unimaginable brutality and violence from Israel and individual Israelis against Palestinians every single day. And we know this because Palestinians continue, even though they are exhausted, to share their stories with us, to record what's happening to them and share it with us. And they have been doing that. They have been telling the same stories for over 100 years about the Israeli occupation. We are lucky enough at Somerville for Palestine to have a number of Palestinian and SWANA members of our organization that also, although they are exhausted, continue to share their stories with us and continue to speak publicly at City Council and at our meetings. And I just wanted tonight to uplift a few stories from some of the members of Somerville for Palestine so that we hold them here tonight. And so I'm going to start with one of our members who is a part of our, she asked me not to share her name, but she's a part of our Somerville for Palestine Dovka group and has been involved in organizing a number of our events. So she's actually from southern Lebanon. My grandma was not literate, but she worked so hard to ensure her kids are university educated, and by extension, I am educated, and I will forever be grateful for that. Israel has displaced my grandmother more than 7 times in her life. The first time was in 1948 from Haifa, where she and my grandpa were working for a few years. They fled back to South Lebanon on foot. So her grandmother is older than the state of Israel, older than the country of Israel. The second time was in 1978 when she had to evacuate her home in South Lebanon prior to the Chaim massacre conducted by pro-Israeli militias. And again, in 2006, the Israeli war on Lebanon. The last 4 times Israel displaced her were during the last 2 years, destroying her house, bulldozing her trees, olive trees that she had planted more than 45 years ago. At the age of 98, no one should have to endure this. And still, my grandma is luckier than so many others who lost their sons and daughters and families who cannot afford to rent a new place. My grandma's name is Aziza, meaning dignified lady. And I just want to say I ran into this member a couple months ago, and she was talking about how when she calls her grandma, she can hear bombs in the background. And this is the situation for many of our members who have family under the bombs. And her grandmother will tell her, oh no, they're not gonna get me. They're in the other neighborhood. They're like on the other side of the street. Don't worry, I am just fine. And so this is a situation that many of our members have told me about. I want to tell the story of a Palestinian member, Ahmed from Tulkarm, who some of you may have heard this already, but he was, it's in what is referred to as the West Bank in Palestine, and his family owned a family farm for generations with olive trees and fruit trees on it. And in the early 2000s, Israel just built a fence right through the middle of his orchards. And it is today known as the apartheid wall. And they told him he's not allowed to go across it. Like many Palestinians, you have no choice but to do what you have to do to harvest your olives. So they would go over it or eventually under it, and a small hole developed. When his son was 6 years old, he had to do a school project on the olive harvest. So they went under the fence and they were filming, this is how you trim them, this is how you harvest them. And Ahmed showed us this video of his son, giving like a news report on harvesting olives. And an Israeli occupation forces military jeep came right up to them. 3 soldiers jumped out of the car with their weapons drawn, had them on the ground, screaming at them, detained them for many hours in this very stressful situation, and then just got up and left. And they walked home like that. Twice now, in 2021, and then again in 2023, In 2021, his family was asleep in his home with his 6-year-old, 2-year-old, and infant child in the home, and they were awoken at night because Israel exploded their door and they raided their house. This is in Palestine. The Israeli military raiding homes in Palestine. That happened again more recently in 2023. I'm going to skip over the most horrible story because my daughter Samira is here tonight. And finally, I'll just share about our beloved community member that many of you know, Sahar, who went to Gaza in the summer of 2023 for a wedding. She's Gazan and she was visiting family. When Israel started its assault on Gaza in October, she was trapped there. She was traveling with her 2 young children, and she was expecting as well, so she was pregnant. Her husband was here in Somerville, trying to carry on his daily life while his wife was experiencing genocide. She's told me the story of standing in her kitchen, looking out the window and seeing the building next to her fall after being bombed. For 3 months, she endured full starvation, and the baby inside her womb stopped moving. Luckily, she was able to evacuate to Egypt with her children, and alhamdulillah, the baby survived, and many of us have met baby Sham, who's 2 years old now, and also a new big sister. So, if those of you who are representing Somerville, and all of you running here, if elected, Sahar and her family will be your constituents. I'm sharing these stories just to remind and let everybody know the urgency that Somerville for Palestine moves with. Those stories and those people are at the heart of our organizing, and that's the urgency with which we are committed to free Palestine, to which we are uncompromising, to which we care a lot about all the details, and that we won't give up. So thank you so much for listening to those stories. Thank you all.